Though everybody's lives differ from one another, there are a lot of ways in which we are very much alike. Most of us, at least in a given country or society, will have had exposure to the same social norms and approach to education, making the ideas and practices that shape us often pretty similar person to person. And most people spend their lives contained within these frameworks of thought, and it leads them to being average, just another one of the crowd, never standing out or excelling beyond the norm. Sigmas are never ones to belong to a crowd. They naturally do things their own way, and that's why we so often see them rise to positions of success in society. In today's Notes from a Sigma Male, I want to go through the different methods that you can use to think and act more like a Sigma male, and stand out from the crowd as a man who truly excels. So, here are the practices that Sigmas use to become one of a kind. Ask yourself if you're wrong. When the average guy comes up with what he believes to be a good idea, he will very rarely stop and ask himself if there's a possibility that he is wrong. Being wrong can of course be a difficult and uncomfortable experience for any of us. In society, we often associate being wrong with failure, and this can lead to feelings of shame, embarrassment, and inadequacy. But it's important to remember that being wrong is a natural and a necessary part of life, and is the key driver behind learning the lessons that will ultimately lead us to the best version of ourselves. Sigma males have no fear of confronting this reality. Thanks in part to their highly analytical way of looking at the world, Sigmas love to challenge themselves and look for any holes that might exist within their own reasoning. Now, the average person avoids asking themselves about their errors due in part to a thing called confirmation bias, by which you see the answer you want to see. For example, a man who has a major crush on his colleague might interpret her simple politeness as confirmation of her liking him back, whereas an objective standpoint would see him ask himself, does she act like this with everybody? And this Sigma male practice reaches even greater power when it comes to more strategic areas of life, such as business or finance. Instead of rushing full steam ahead, Sigmas take the time to evaluate their own ideas and look for any potential weaknesses. And this is what leads them to success at such a higher rate than the average man around them. Instead of waiting for the passage of time to reveal the holes in their plans, Sigmas do it for themselves and repair those holes before they cause the ship to sink. Sigmas understand that being wrong helps us to be more open-minded and flexible in our lives. Because when we're willing to admit that we might be wrong about something, it means that we're open to the possibility of being fallible and pushes us to consider other perspectives and other viewpoints. And this can really help us to be more adaptable and resilient in the face of challenges and setbacks. And it can help us to develop a greater understanding of the world around us. Sigmas use this adaptability to thrive in whatever circumstances they find themselves in and to excel way beyond the average man. Doubt your doubts. 99% of people harbor some kind of insecurities about themselves. And this is completely normal and a natural consequence of healthy self-reflection. But insecurities become a problem when we can't overcome them, and they end up going on to hold us back. Insecurities can take many different forms, such as doubts about our abilities, our appearance, or our worth. And usually these insecurities are deeply ingrained and difficult to overcome, but it's important to recognize that they are not necessarily accurate reflections of who we are or what we are capable of. All of our insecurities arise from some deeper belief about ourselves, such as not being worthy of love, not being talented enough to achieve success, or not being brave enough to enter the unknown. Identifying the underlying beliefs that create our insecurities can help you to cast doubt on their validity. Looking with an objective eye, ask yourself what evidence exists for you to hold these insecurities. chances are there is ample evidence that negates your insecurities and proves them wrong. And focusing on this evidence can free you from being held back by pointless insecurities that only exist inside your own head. Most people will allow their insecurities to dictate their actions and their decisions, and as a result are likely to hold themselves back and prevent themselves from pursuing their goals and their dreams. And this often just leads to feelings of frustration and disappointment, and is what keeps so many people from excelling beyond the average. Using the logical reasoning and quiet confidence of a Sigma male, you can break free from this trap and pursue your goals and dreams free from the shackles of insecurity. Get comfortable stepping outside of your comfort zone. Stepping outside of your comfort zone is, by its very definition, a challenging and intimidating experience, but it's also an important step in personal growth and development. A man's comfort zone is a place where he feels safe and secure, but it's also a place where the average man tends to become stagnant and stuck. By stepping out of our comfort zones, we break free from the mundane nature of our familiar routines, and we open ourselves to new and exciting experiences and opportunities. Sigmas love to explore new and exciting opportunities as part of their dedication to personal growth, and so breaking the barriers of their comfort zones is a lifelong practice that Sigmas use to excel. Stepping outside your comfort zone also helps to overcome fears and doubts that hold us back throughout life. Even if you believe that you cannot do something, you will never actually know until you try. And too many people let those doubts and insecurities hold them back from ever trying anything new or scary. But pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone is crucial in fighting that instinct. Stepping out of our comfort zone helps us to broaden our horizons and discover new passions and new interests. And trying new things is the most effective way of discovering new hobbies and activities, or even careers that we are passionate about, that can end up bringing us so much joy and fulfillment throughout the rest of our lives. And this is what allows Sigmas to lead more fulfilling and meaningful lives, and to find happiness and to find purpose in whatever they do. Now, just a quick note to say that if you're enjoying this video so far, please do take a second to head down and hit the like button. And if you're not already, then subscribe to the channel too, or drop a comment with your thoughts below. It's the easiest way to help support the channel and lets me know what kind of videos you guys like to see the most here. So thank you so much. And finally, embrace fresh perspectives. Going back to something that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, depending on where we grew up, the chances are that we will have been taught to think in similar ways as those around us. And this applies not just to the societal norms we face or the education we receive, but also on much more microcosmic levels, such as friend groups or the workplace. And this can in some ways be a positive thing, as we feel bonded to those around us and don't have to sit around constantly explaining ourselves to the people around us. But on the other hand, this can be very limiting, as we run the risk of being exposed only to those who think exactly the same way we do. When Sigmas are confronted with a problem, they try to think as much outside of the box as they can. They understand that oftentimes the most creative and unexpected solutions are the most effective. This is why so many famous innovators and thought leaders like Steve Jobs are prime examples of a Sigma male. Sigmas seek out fresh perspectives, different from their own, and synthesize a new way of thinking that the majority of those around them are likely to have overlooked. Doing the same and seeking out the opinion of an outsider can lead you to fresh perspectives and innovative solutions that set you apart from the crowd. Embracing the Sigma approach to life is a step towards overcoming the homogeneity that keeps most people average throughout their lives. Finding and following your own values, your own goals and passions, rather than trying to conform to the expectations and the standards of others, is built into the Sigma way of life. For many people, this can be a challenging and intimidating process, but it is also an essential step in living a fulfilling and authentic life. Without people willing to walk their own path and stand out from the crowd, we would never reach any innovation or progress. We need people willing to break from conformity and think for themselves. So what about you guys? Do you feel like you stand out from the crowd, or do you struggle with feeling anonymous among the herd? Do others think of you as odd or strange? If you feel like sharing, let me know your experience down in the comment section. I make sure to read every single comment. And be sure to check out my other videos if you want more lessons on how to break from the pack and think like a Sigma male, such as this video on philosophy for nonconformists. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Notes from a Sigma Male.